Every dog hopes for a forever home. They wait patiently in shelters, dreaming of a family to call their own. For a lovely 2-year-old dog named Kuno, that special day seemed to have arrived. On a sunny Saturday afternoon, the 19th of July, he left the Gangneung Animal Shelter in South Korea with his new family. His tail must have been wagging, his heart filled with excitement for the adventures ahead. He was leaving the familiar sounds and smells of the shelter behind for a life of walks, cuddles, and love. This was his chance, his moment to finally belong somewhere. Imagine the world through Kuno's eyes. The car ride would have been a whirlwind of new sights and scents, a promise of a wonderful future. Perhaps he imagined a soft bed to sleep in, tasty treats, and kind hands to scratch behind his ears. He was ready to give all his loyalty and affection to these new people. He trusted them completely. In his mind, this was the start of a lifelong bond, a journey they would take together. He had no reason to think otherwise. For a dog, adoption is the ultimate pact, a silent promise of care and companionship. Sadly, Kuno's dream was shattered in just a few short hours. The life he had just started to imagine was taken away as quickly as it was given. Before he could even learn the layout of his new house or the names of his new people, he was back in the car. But this time, the journey was not filled with happy anticipation. It was a ride back to the place he had just left, a place of waiting and uncertainty. The hope that had blossomed in his heart was cruelly stomped out, leaving only confusion and sadness in its place. This sudden return was a deep betrayal. For a dog who had already been abandoned once before by his original owner, this experience was like opening an old wound. Dogs feel emotion deeply. They feel joy, fear, and heartbreak. Kuno's trust in humans was tested once again. He went from being a cherished new family member to an unwanted burden in the span of an afternoon. The world, which had seemed so bright and full of promise, suddenly turned grey and cold. His journey had ended before it had even truly begun. When Kuno arrived back at the shelter at 8:30 that same evening, the staff were shocked. It had only been 7 hours since he left, full of promise. But it wasn't just his quick return that was heartbreaking, it was his appearance. Kuno, who had left with a beautiful full coat of fur, came back almost naked. His entire body, from his neck down to his tail, had been shaved. Only the fur on his head remained, a strange and lonely patch that made him look confused and vulnerable. The staff could hardly recognize him. The reason the family gave for returning him was simple and devastating. They said they could not raise him with their other dogs. This excuse felt hollow and raised more questions than answers. Why did they shave him? Was it an attempt to solve a problem that they gave up on too quickly? Whatever the reason, their actions showed a profound lack of understanding and respect for a living, feeling creature. They treated Kuno not as a new family member, but as a problem they could dispose of when it became inconvenient for them. For Kuno, the experience must have been terrifying and bewildering. Being held down and shaved by strangers would be a stressful event for any animal. He wouldn't have understood why this was happening to him. He likely felt scared and exposed, both physically without his protective coat of fur and emotionally. His new family, who were supposed to protect him, had instead caused him harm and distress. He was returned to the shelter, not just as an unwanted pet, but as a dog who had been physically altered and emotionally scarred by the very people who promised to care for him. The shelter workers were filled with a mix of anger and sadness. They had celebrated Kuno's adoption, believing he had found his happy ending. To see him returned in such a state was a painful blow. They immediately took to social media, sharing before and after photos of Kuno. Their goal was not just to share his story, but to send a powerful message. They wanted to show the world the real consequences of impulsive decisions and to highlight the deep need for responsible, committed adopters who understand what it truly means to welcome a pet into their lives. Adopting a pet is not like buying a new toy or a piece of furniture. It is a lifelong commitment, a promise to care for another being through good times and bad. It is a decision that requires careful thought, preparation, and a deep sense of responsibility. You are not just getting a pet, you are gaining a family member who will depend on you for everything: food, shelter, medical care, and most importantly, love and patience. This is a pact, an agreement to provide a stable and loving environment for the entire life of that animal. Unfortunately, not everyone understands the gravity of this promise. In South Korea, the problem of pet abandonment is significant. In the year 2024 alone, official records show that 106,824 pets were abandoned and ended up in shelters across the country. While this number has decreased from a high of over 135,000 in 2019, it is still a staggering figure. It represents thousands of stories like Kuno's, stories of broken trust and shattered lives. Each number is a dog or a cat who was once loved, then cast aside when they became too much trouble. These animals are abandoned for many reasons, moving to a new home that doesn't allow pets, the cost of vet bills, behavioral issues, or simply because the novelty has worn off. Kuno's story is a stark reminder that pets are not temporary sources of entertainment. They have complex needs and personalities. Integrating a new dog into a home with existing pets takes time, patience, and proper introductions. Giving up after only a few hours shows a complete failure to understand this basic responsibility. True commitment means working through challenges, not running away from them. The shelter staff who took Kuno back knew this all too well. Their public appeal was a plea for a different kind of adopter. They asked for someone who would not act on a momentary emotion but on a well-considered decision. They were looking for a person or family who understood that building a bond with a rescue dog takes time. It requires patience to help them overcome their past traumas and learn to trust again. They were searching for someone who could see the beautiful, loving soul underneath the shaved fur and the sad eyes. Despite everything he has been through, Kuno's spirit has not been completely broken. The shelter staff have noted that, remarkably, he still likes people. He still craves connection and affection. This is the incredible resilience of dogs. They have an amazing capacity to forgive and to love again, even after being hurt. Kuno is a testament to this truth. He is waiting once more for a true forever home, a place where he will be safe, respected, and cherished for who he is. His story is a powerful call to action for all of us. We must change the way we think about getting a pet. Before you bring an animal home, you must ask yourself the hard questions. Are you ready for the financial cost of food, toys, and unexpected vet visits? Do you have the time to dedicate to training, exercise, and companionship every single day? Are you prepared to handle behavioral challenges with patience and kindness? Is your home environment stable and suitable for a pet for the next 10 to 15 years? Answering these questions honestly is the first and most important step in responsible pet ownership. The goal should always be to provide a loving, lifelong home. Animals are not disposable. They are sentient beings who form deep emotional bonds. When we adopt them, we take on the sacred duty of becoming their whole world. We must honor that trust with unwavering commitment. Every animal deserves to feel secure and loved, to grow old with the family that chose them. We have the power to prevent stories like Kuno's from happening again by making thoughtful, educated decisions and by teaching others to do the same. Let Kuno's heartbreaking return be a lesson for us all. Let it inspire us to be better, more compassionate human beings. Let us champion the cause of responsible adoption and support our local animal shelters. And let us hope that somewhere out there, the perfect family is waiting for Kuno, a family that will see his past not as baggage, but as a story of survival. They will give him the time he needs to heal, and in return, he will give them a lifetime of unconditional love. Every dog deserves that chance.